Hey everyone, it's Dr. J here, and I just finished watching Tiger King on Netflix, and wow, are there so many plots and subplots to explore. But in this video, I'm gonna focus in on Joe Exotic, aka the Tiger King, and apply 3 broad psychological topics. And they are the ego, values, and setting intentions. Let's get into it. Let's start out with exploring the ego. The ego is a psychological construct within us that attempts to answer the question, who am I? It involves your story, your personality, your beliefs, and even your name. When we look at Joe, clearly this is a person with a changing ego. He went by many different names, showing the changes that were occurring to the self. Is it typical for changes to take place within us over time? Absolutely. But 2 big signs of possible ego weakness or ego instability are grandiosity and an inflated sense of self. Connected with the ego, the who am I, are our values. And our values dictate where we put our energy, our time, and determine what is important. A core personal value for you might be family, adventure, helping others, spontaneity, compassion, friendship, knowledge, spirituality, or sustainability, just to name a few. Many people confuse money as a value. Author Mark Manson talks about this a lot. Money has no inherent value. What we spend money on and the reasons why we wish to acquire money highlight our values. These values connect directly to our intentions. For example, if you have values of sustainability and community, when you open up a nonprofit, you may set intentions to clean up local parks and beaches in order to help the environment flourish. The point I want to focus on in the show where this all comes to a head is in the final episode in the last 10 minutes. They show a news clip of a much younger Joe with just 1 cage of a tiger at the very beginning before he had a zoo, and he says they are very dangerous animals and a very beautiful animal, but they have a place in the world. That's in Africa, India, and in Asia, not in Oklahoma. He says it in a very grounded, peaceful tone, not erratic, but spoken like a core truth. He continues by saying this state has got to pass laws and stop this breeding. Then you hear from Rick, the producer of Joe Exotic TV, saying, I think Joe originally started the zoo with good purpose, but as the money grew, he didn't really care about the animals at all. This is such a powerful line, and I wish I could go in this moment in time to talk to Joe in person to see what his values were and explore his intentions for the tigers. Because maybe at this point he cared deeply about the animals. Or maybe he never really cared at all and he only wanted money and power. The point is, there seems to be a different Joe in the news clip, coupled with the fact that his co-workers discussed often throughout the documentary how he changed so much over time. Did he change because of money? Drugs? Was it ego damage from the power struggle between him and Carol Baskin? Was it the fact that he just wanted more fame? These questions are really hard to answer as to why he changed. However, the next scene is even more interesting to me. The documentary cuts to a very emotional Joe who's a little more slowed down and regulated like he was in that original news clip that we talked about earlier. But Joe's talking about how he finally moved his 2 chimpanzees the week prior. They had been separated by cages for over 10 years, but in just 2 days in this new sanctuary, they're out in a big yard hugging and loving on each other. Joe owns, I deprived them of being chimpanzees. Did I do it on purpose, he says? No. I was wrapped up in having a zoo. Perhaps the money, the power, the status took Joe away from who he originally was. It might have taken him away from those original values and intentions. None of this excuses what Joe did, and ultimately only Joe knows what those original values and intentions were. But I think this documentary brings up some really interesting reflection points for ourselves. It can be big and lofty and difficult to answer the ego question of the who am I? But in just thinking about your career, does your career and what you do align with your personal values and intentions? Or have you gotten sidetracked by money, power, wanting to get promoted, or status? The good news is it's never too late to realign ourselves with our personal values and intentions. Without this grounding, we may find ourselves down a road where we don't even recognize ourselves anymore. Wow, plenty of interesting reflection questions to ask yourself that I know I was asking myself while I was watching Tiger King. Maybe reflect a little bit for yourself and make sure you click that link in the description for a full list of very common core personal values. And then let me know in the comments down below, what are some of your core personal values? When we know these and we're grounded in them, they allow us to set good intentions moving forward. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.